Hello everybody, Luke here for another round of MyTeam action on F1 2020. This time it is going to be around the Baku City circuit, as you can see, for round 8 of the season, the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. So we are now about a third of the way through the F1 season. We had our best result of the season so far. If you didn't see our Monaco Grand Prix video, we finished in 5th position, managed to make a one-stop strategy work, held up a lot of faster cars behind us. What that means is we actually went up in the Drivers' Championship ahead of Daniel Ricciardo, up to 8th in the Drivers' Championship. However, the Minardi Viking team just staying in 7th, but we have really closed that gap up on McLaren and Racing Point, despite them looking to have the fastest car, definitely over 1 lap pace. You might remember in the last video as well, we had a sponsor due for renewal. That was Atlantic. Decided to stay with them. It's a very easy objective and they give us a nice amount of money for the weekly contract and for reaching the goal as well, so that should be fairly straightforward. Need to make sure we are building up some money because Dorian's contract has actually gone up in price slightly. He's now worth $2 million apparently, so I've got about 5 weeks to make sure I've got 2 million, so maybe not spending as much on the car as I should be over the next few races, just to make sure we're doing well. I did upgrade the powertrain department, and R&D wise, they're the 2 pieces we've got ready for now. We've got a chassis reduction coming in time for the next race, and I think the aero one will also be done in time for Canada. But for now, let's just concentrate on the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, see if we can put in another good performance. Can we get into the points once again? Qualifying then around Baku City circuit, where according to the qualifying simulations, we are going to be right at the back of the grid. That is not ideal. Not as big of a nightmare as it would be at Monaco, despite the fact that I managed to get from 19th to 5th, because as you can see, a lot of long straights here, the main straight and this back straight between turns 2 and 3 do allow opportunities for overtaking. So that probably means the strategy that I used in Monaco was just pitting early and holding everyone else up after they'd made their pit stops won't be as effective around this circuit, so pure pace will be more important. At the moment, it doesn't look like we've really got that pure pace to move up the grid. That was a pretty good chicane though. Went from 18th to 12th. I always lose a bit of time though at this next part of the circuit. We are coming up to the castle section, the slowest part, well not the slowest, sorry, the tightest part of any F1 circuit on the calendar at the moment. Very twisty around there. It's probably the best I've done it in a long time. But looking like we might even get into the top 10 here, and that would mean we'd have to start on these soft tyres, so I'm not sure that's ideal. I wouldn't actually mind dropping down a place or 2 here. That wasn't the cleanest corner I've ever done, so there's a couple of places that I said I wouldn't mind dropping. Let's see how we can do though. Much better around there, heading now towards the finish line. It looks like being a much more promising qualifying session than we've had in recent times. Flat out through these corners. Now just relying on the Honda engine to drag us towards the finish line. DRS open now. It looks like we are going to be in 13th position as we head towards the finish line. Yeah, 13th place. Best qualifying in a long time. There we go. I got worried then that it actually said 22nd. 13th place. I can cope with that. Very happy indeed.
And with qualifying complete, let's review our top 3 today. Bottas, Vettel and Lewis Hamilton. Well, that wraps up qualifying, but don't worry, we'll be back tomorrow as we head into the Grand Prix.
I want to know where Kimi Räikkönen's got that pace from in the Alfa Romeo. That is a fantastic time from him. He's in 10th. He is our rival, let's not forget. And I think the rivalry ends at the end of this weekend. Dorian way down in last position. That is disappointing. Surprising to see Lando Norris down in 17th as well, so I'd expect him to do better. Let's see how we can do in the race. We're outside the top 10. We'll have fresh tyres. Maybe we'll move up a few places because of penalties as well. Let's just see how things go.
A warm welcome to all of you watching at home to today's Azerbaijan Grand Prix, and a race that in its short history has already proven no stranger to drama. A 4th row start is just about as likely to give you a podium as a pole position would. And remember, in 2017 and 2018, both Lance Stroll and then Sergio Perez took surprise podiums here. Baku City Circuit then, an unpredictable 3.7-mile track around the streets of the Azerbaijan capital. 20 turns for our drivers to navigate today, including the infamous Turn 8, one of the tightest and most challenging corners of the season. A warm welcome to Anthony Davidson, who's beside me in the commentary box today. Now, I want to ask you about Lewis Hamilton. That was a great win in the last race. Can they keep that momentum going this weekend?
It's always nice to come into a Grand Prix weekend on a high, but your expectations are based much more on your practice and qualifying runs. So it's the momentum from those sessions that they'll be hoping to carry into the race today.
With the race minutes away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Valtteri Bottas lines up on pole position, and starting alongside in P2 is Sebastian Vettel. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Hamilton, Leclerc, Sergio Perez, and Verstappen, Ricciardo, Stroll, Albon, and Kimi Raikkonen, Sainz, Ocon, the owner driver, and Giovinazzi, Magnussen, Kvyat, Lando Norris, and Roman Grosjean, Gasly, Russell, Latifi, and Dorian Boccolacci. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head to trackside for today's race.
So, as Crofty said in that introduction piece, it is possible to get a surprise podium around here. I do think it would be a big surprise for myself if I ended up on the podium here. The top three teams look very fast. Racing Point seem to have improved their car, so anything above 9th or 10th place would be a very good performance. Strategy-wise, we are going to go for the one-stop strategy. Probably that one, actually. 13 and 13th on the hards and mediums. I don't enjoy the soft tyres around here at all, if I'm being truthful with you. Might go a lap longer on the hards. I'll do 14 on the hards, 12 on the mediums. We'll see how it goes, but the soft tyres, when I use them in the practice sessions, they seem to wear out a bit too quickly for me, so I'll go on that strategy. Times on all the strategies, see about the same. Going to stay nice and dry for the race. Let's see if we can continue our run of points. Matching last time out, 5th place would be an absolute miracle, but you never know until you try. Held for abnormally long time then, but we are underway here in Baku. Got a good start straight off the line, ahead of Ocon already, down the inside as well on Raikkonen and Sainz, who have both managed to get a better exit than me. Very late on the brakes into turn 2. Raikkonen seems to like squeezing me off at this moment in time. That's just completely compromised my line all the way down towards turn 3 now, coming out of turn 2. Sainz and Raikkonen side by side. Let's see if I can brake later than Ocon. Did manage to do so, so I've gained a position on this first lap. Ocon is on the harder tyres, so we might actually be racing him later on in the race. A lot of these guys have started on the softs. We knew that in the top 10, but a lot outside the top 10 have also seemed to have gone for these soft tyres, so they will be incredibly quick in these opening few laps. It's later on in the race where I'll need to do what I can to just stay ahead of them. Hopefully they'll be pitting twice. I'm almost certain that they will. Let's see where we can end up then. Heading towards the end of lap 1, 12th position. Need to make sure I'm careful coming onto the main straight zone.
Great first lap, keep it up.
If I have a bad run onto the main straight, it'll be so easy for these guys to get ahead of me. Nearly at the end of lap 2 here. Ocon's looking very racy to try and get ahead of me. I am taking it fairly easy. The amount of mistakes I made in practice was just
Try to stay with him, might make a mistake. We could still regain the position.
Now Giovinazzi's going to try and go
DRS is
get
being
ahead of me
this
as well.
lap. We can use DRS when you are within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone.
Try to just hold off around the outside. We're both going to get DRS down this next straight, but that has lost me a lot of time on Ocon. As I was saying, in the race, well, in practice, sorry, wasn't the best whatsoever around here. Qualifying, I don't even want to tell you how many times it took me to get a clean lap together. Ended up in the barriers so many times, so just being very conservative in these opening few stages. Don't want to make a stupid mistake. Ocon has got ahead of us though. You would expect him to be faster than me. around this track.
Overtake and burn some of this energy.
That puts us down into 13th position. Back where we started then, halfway through lap 3. Oh, Giovinazzi's is coming up quick. Not even got DRS open yet. That's just purely in the slipstream, and there's no point defending that because they're so much quicker. At this point in the race, I might as well just let it happen. He's on the soft tyres as well, so on a different strategy to him, so not really too bothered about that. But we have lost another place. We seem to be going backwards, and I'd much rather prefer to be going forwards. Down to 14th there. We've got Magnussen behind me now. We get DRS on this straight, that will help me defend against him. Wouldn't surprise me though if he has a go next time around on the run down to turn 1. Don't seem to have any pace at this point in the race. Thankfully got a good exit coming off of turn 2, so that will hold Magnussen back for a bit. But you can see EOS electrical energy down to mid-30s, dropped below 30% before I got to the braking zone of turn 3, so don't want to overly defend from these guys because that will just slow me down. Don't want to keep Kvyat behind me because he is probably on the same strategy as me. Need these soft tyre runners maybe to start dropping off, otherwise this could be a long, long afternoon for myself.
Caution, caution.
Yellow flag, and that is Raikkonen and Verstappen have crashed into each other, I think, coming down the main straight, so that's good news for me
Okay, clear.
in my rivalry. So that's probably, not sure if it's put any of them out of the race, and there does seem to be a lot of pit stops going on as well now.
8.9 seconds.
A lot of pit stops, people are coming into the pits. Hamilton's just been in, he comes out just ahead of me. Might get DRS off him as well, which is always nice. That wasn't the best turn 1 and turn 2 combination I've ever done in my lifetime. So up into 8th place. This is just because of the strategies. Albon pitted a lap earlier than these guys, and Raikkonen and Verstappen have had an accident which might end up taking them both out of the race. We'll have to wait and see. Haven't seen any message that they have retired, but it's definitely dropped them a long way down the order. Good news for the rivalry, good news for our chances of getting in the points, and good news for our sponsors. Let's not forget they do require us to finish in the top 10, top 12, sorry. Vettel all over the back of me. Can't really pass at this point of the circuit, even when I do nearly stack it into the barriers. It is difficult, but he's just going to have way more grip than me.
Just fitted the hard tyres. Car ahead.
Just be able to streak around the outside, I think, here, and I don't want Kvyat to follow through either. And he's definitely going to try this, is Daniel Kvyat. It's not a normal overtaking place. I don't intend for it to be an overtaking position this time around. So we are still struggling a bit, I feel, for pace at the moment. Certain corners we just can't get clean consistently at this moment in time. Headed towards the end of lap 8 though, now into 9th position. Coming towards the end of lap 14, this is the lap where we come into the pits as Daniel Ricciardo
Come on, you can win that race
just
back.
reeks ahead of me there. Not the cleanest pit entry, as it never really is with me. Still need to remember that I should practice these a bit more in the practice session. But coming in then for our one and only pit stop, we weren't doing too bad towards the end of that stint. We're getting away from some of the other drivers.
Release, release.
Again, not the cleanest exit really either.
Look after these tyres now. We want to finish the race on this compound.
I've come out ahead of Alex Albon though, which is interesting. So not sure if he had a mistake earlier on. I know he did pit the lap before I saw the Raikkonen and Verstappen incident. So in 16th place, definitely a few more guys to make their pit stops. So pace at the end of the stint makes me think we might just have a chance of being quicker than some of these guys at the end of the final stint. Maybe gain a few more places towards the end of the race. It's worth a shot. So let's see how we do here. Lap 15 out of 26, 12 laps to go. Currently in 16th position. Dorian has come into the pits, so that's promoted us up another position. Now into 15th, Magnussen up ahead. I think he's almost certainly on a two-stop strategy as he started on the soft, so there's no way those mediums will be able to get to the end, and the pace I'm currently catching him up at suggests his tyres are getting near to the end of their useful life, so he should be getting out of my way shortly, whether that's with an overtake or him coming into the pits. That will be another place gained. Getting up any higher, I'm not sure about. Might need traffic to just hold a few of these guys up ahead of me. We might gain something. I think getting points is going to be tough. Not quite sure what strategy a lot of the other guys who I was expecting to be fighting against are on. If they're on a one-stop, it's not going to happen. If they're on a two-stop, still got a chance of getting a few points. Heading towards the end of lap 20 then, so just over 6 laps to go. Here, now in 11th place. Quite a few of those guys who were on the hard tyres, so both of the Alpha Tauris and Lando Norris left it extremely late to get rid of them. So they've been able to go onto the soft tyre for the end of this race, and they will be lightening quick. Already on this lap, Kvyat is caught up between 7-8 tenths of a second, so he's going incredibly fast at the moment. Need to watch out for him and his teammate in the latter stages of this race. I am catching up though to Ocon. It looks like Giovinazzi is another driver who's left it incredibly late. No, actually I think he's just been passed.
The car ahead, but be aware that these tyres need to last till the end of the race. We're leading our teammate by 19.5 seconds.
I was just wondering then whether Giovinazzi had actually come into the pits, but no, he did start on the soft tyres, so he's down on the hard tyres. I am catching up to Ocon ever so slightly, but you might have seen it flash up there. Gasly has set the fastest lap of the race, so he is going lightning quick at this moment in time. It'd be nice for me if Alex Albon could actually hold up the two Alpha Tauris, otherwise I could be a sitting duck in the final few laps. Lap 21 of the race, can we sneak into the points? That is the big question now.
Green flag.
Charles Leclerc and Kvyat are out, and those two... No, there's no way those two could have come together, so I don't get how that's happened. And Leclerc, thinking about it, he should be way up the head of the field, so that's got rid of Kvyat. That's good news for me, because he was really starting to catch up.
Yellow flag.
Quite dramatically, so it is two separate incidents. I wonder if Albon and Kvyat have come together, and then Leclerc's just happened to have a failure at the exact same time. There we go though, up into the points places, and now starting to catch up to Esteban Ocon. We can see there in 9th place, nearly within a second, nearly within that magical DRS window. I'm wondering if Ocon has either completely cooked his tyres or has a slight bit of damage, because I really shouldn't be able to catch him up as quickly as I have done. DRS will soon be able for me to use. There we go, rear wing has popped open, used a bit of overtake as well, because I'm not closed in as much as I would have liked. Can I dive one down the inside into turn 1? Just about got it stopped in time, but he's able to cut back. All this battling just makes it a bit easier for those behind to catch me up. You can see I've got a much better exit out of turn 3. I'm going to have to go all the way round the outside, actually into turn 3. I got a better exit out of 2. I've got that position done. Not the cleanest manoeuvre I'll ever make in my lifetime, and I seem to say that about a lot of my overtakes, but it is an overtake. Up into 9th place. Giovinazzi 4.5 seconds up the road with 4 laps to go. Probably just going to be too much for me to catch him up. His hard tyres should last a bit better than my mediums, but I'll give it everything to maybe even get into the top 8. Just going to run out of laps here to beat Giovinazzi. So annoying. Tried everything really, just made a couple of mistakes on this lap. That's allowed him to get away from me. 9th place I'd have definitely taken though before the start of this race. Got lucky, I think, with the accident that Raikkonen and Verstappen had. I'm not quite sure what happened with them. Leclerc's retirement also helped. Kvyat, he'd have been a threat towards the end of this race, but in the end, you know, they've had some bad luck. It might come to me at some point getting involved in an incident. Still managed to keep the run of point scores going. Very happy with the way this race has ended up, heading towards the finish line. That is going to be a 9th position and another handy 2 points to end round 8 of the season.
That's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Ferme.
Giovinazzi, yeah, as well, getting driver of the day, so not surprised. They had an absolutely fantastic race, did Alfa Romeo. As I said, I don't think I'd have beat either of them if they hadn't have had the mistakes, well, the problems that happened with Raikkonen, so that helped me, and that should mean I beat him in the rivalry as well, so that'll be some extra acclaim for myself. Still not quite sure what acclaim does, apart from, you know, make people respect you a bit more. I know team acclaim helps with sponsors, but I don't know exactly what individual driver acclaim does, definitely for myself anyway, so if any of you guys know, feel free to let me know. That was a fairly decent race for myself. I think getting past Ocon, I could have done that a bit cleaner. Maybe if I'd have just waited until turn 3 originally, had that better run on him, I wouldn't have lost as much time, because that first sector I was about 1.5 seconds down, and then I'd have probably been within DRS range with 1 lap to go as Giovinazzi, so who knows if I'd have beat him, ifs and buts and all that. So that's the end of that race. 9th position, Valtteri Bottas with the victory. Bit like real life, Mercedes seem to win almost everything on this game. As you can see there, used a lot of flashbacks, but none of you guys are going to see that in the final video, because otherwise the video would be about 3 hours long, I think, of all the mistakes I can make around here.
Here's how things look in the drivers' table. More points for Valtteri Bottas, further solidifying his lead at the top of the table. Some amazing talent out on the track today, but Anthony, who would you pick as your driver of the day?
My driver of the day has to be, no question, Antonio Giovinazzi. Such an assured drive from one of the sport's newer stars, and a performance he can be very, very proud of.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings. Mercedes continue to extend their lead. Another team that will be satisfied with this Grand Prix is Alfa Romeo, whose good result moves them further up the championship. It's been an absolutely wild weekend of Formula One action. I can't wait to see what's next.
After Monaco, we've definitely been brought back down to earth a bit with the Drivers' Championship, down to 10th place, still tied with Perez and Carlos Sainz, but again, I'd expect them to be able to move up ahead of me. The Racing Point and the McLaren, a much better car than what I've got, and you can see that in the constructors. They've pulled away from me in that as well. Alfa Romeo getting their first points of the season, so I might need to start watching out for them, because they definitely did show some fantastic pace here. I finished in 9th place. Dorian actually finished in 15th place, and it looks like it was Verstappen's fault for that incident with Raikkonen, so whether he went a bit too aggressive. Boccolacci finishing ahead of both of the Williams, finishing ahead of Grosjean as well, so I'm not sure if Grosjean had an issue at any point in the race, but that's his best finish of the season. Be nice to see him get some points though, because I'm still undecided as to whether I'll keep him when it comes to contract renegotiation time in a few races time. I think it'll be after France or Austria for that.
Let's have your thoughts. Did you struggle to get through all that traffic today?
I just pushed as hard as I could really towards the end of that stint. Durability department will be happy with that.
Close between you and your rival for a bit, but you came out on top, didn't you?
Things did look close between me and Kimi. I wasn't expecting to beat them, and they definitely underestimated me. But the team had faith in me. I had faith in the car.
More like Dodgems than Formula One today, wasn't it?
And a few friendly nudges with a few other drivers. You can see there some of the interview answers you can't unlock until you get to a certain social media level. I think it's called. So I'm not sure if I'll really bother with that. I'd rather make the car better than keep Claire happy with a few of the answers. But as you can see, it was 3-3 that time around. So I have beat Raikkonen in the rivalry, and that's why my acclaim has shot up so much. Up to 14% acclaim boost now. Team acclaim up to level 9, nearly halfway through that. And a nice lump of cash as well to take us forward to the next race of the season, which will be, I believe, the Canadian Grand Prix for round 9 of the season. So another kind of street circuit, lots of straights, lots of heavy braking zones. So downforce not really key, just need good power from my engine. So might have to look into upgrading that if I've got any of the resource points.
From the sponsors is cleared, and we're making good profit against our running costs.
We are making some good profit. You can see we're nearly back up to 2 million again, so we still need a tiny bit more to afford Dorian's renewal, and we haven't really got time to add anything else to the car. We haven't got time to add anything else to this video either, so cheers everyone for watching. Leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time around for the Canadian Grand Prix.